Hello folks, welcome to Linux for Seniors. Hopefully you will subscribe. None of my videos are less than 2 minutes. I try to do a very comprehensive on a lot of my videos on my new YouTube channel. My previous one had over 450 videos, which is closed and discontinued. But this one here is called Linux for Seniors. And again, I encourage you to subscribe. You can go check me out there. You can also watch this on your smart TVs if you got the YouTube app. And I actually encourage people to do that, especially for seniors looking at those big screens. My current YouTube site, I think, is up to 45 videos, somewhere in that range. I just started this less than 3 weeks ago. My last library, as I said, had 450. My target audience is seniors or anybody that wants to learn Linux. And basically, I'm going to give you quite a few tips in this video also. Stuff you may not see anywhere else, but I'm going to try to explain this very comprehensively and not using a very technical jargon, let's put it that way. So welcome, folks. I'm going to first just give you a quick system information, and I know a lot of new users shy away from this box, but basically, Manjaro is the type of system where you can use a package manager to, you can use a package manager to install software. So you don't have to use terminal, but I will show you those commands. And another thing too is when I get, let me first get this all done and over with. So this is Manjaro, the 64-bit version of the Xfce desktop. And don't read too much into the CPU and graphic card and memory, because I do other stuff on this machine. If I get some time, I'll show you that command there a little bit more in detail. I know it looks silly, and you probably go, and I got a calendar down here. I can use this command to find, okay, so if you know somebody's month and year, birthday, you can tell them what day of the week they were born on. You can do that with a lot of things. And if I get some time, I'll show that cute little tool just to get you comfortable with terminal. But in either case, let's move on. And again, welcome. So we have 3 icons on the desktop that are larger than normal. And I will show you from screenshots what the original stuff was. So we have a trash can, a file system, and a home folder. Personally, I'm just going to open up the home folder because it contains these two. And you can remove these icons. Why are my icons so huge? And why is this panel bar all huge? And not panel bar, the bar up here. Because I changed some of the appearance on this to make it larger. I can make it even larger if you like. And what am I doing here? Some of you folks may have seen my videos before. Try not to get you too sick, but anyways. So I'm right-handed, and I'm holding my computer mouse that has a scroll wheel on it to do a lot of these functions. I'm holding down the control key with my left hand, and I'm going to depress it and hold it while I'm resizing. And all I'm doing is rolling my computer mouse scroll wheel to make them bigger. This comes in handy if you're in wallpaper, for instance, or photos, to resize icons. I'll make them dinky, then I'll go up. Once I get into the thumbnail size I wanted, I release the control key. Now I can scroll in the new resized. If you feel more comfortable, grab a hold of this. I personally don't use it. I use my scroll wheel on my computer mouse. So if you got some digital photos of your kids or pets or whatever, you can make that into wallpaper. I got some weird wallpaper, you must admit. You can right-click and set it anything as wallpaper. So if you have digital photos of your children, your pets, or whatever, friends, on a lot of your digital photos, when you bring them in here, have extra information. So if you right-click on an image, for instance, and hit Properties, you can hit the image. It'll tell you what camera was used. That was an iPhone 12 Pro Max. And I will find another one to give another example. Let me keep scrolling here. Keep scrolling. I think that was a Nikon. So this is Crater Lake, Oregon. It's a national park. Crater Lake, Oregon, USA, if you're out of the country. Beautiful place. The lake is actually bluer than the photo. Right click. So that was taken with a Sony. I believe it was a 20 megapixel camera back in, it's like 21. So, a couple of years ago. Anyways. All right, let's move along. So Mr. Senior is my user, and that's my home folder. So I can resize these all day long. Get into the size I want, and I release the control key. And you can also view hidden files, Control H. And I'll show you this mouse pointer that I have in this folder a little bit later. So it's a folder I created. It wasn't there when I started. Control H. View. Show hidden. Control H. So if I didn't do the logo, through now your file manager. Okay, I don't think I need to click the rest of these because here I have a trash can right here and my file system is right here. So technically I only need one icon. Where do we want to start? I think I'm going to leave right-clicking the desktop for last. So why don't we start on the panel bar going on the right-hand side. So my logo will be here the whole time during the video. So if you click that, you can subscribe. But underneath there is a little icon that is called a multifunction logout, restart, and suspend key. Shutdown, restart, logout, and suspend. I knew I could say that. You have a simple calendar. You can also notice that this thing is in a 24-hour clock. You can right-click, Properties, and you can change the format to AM and PM. Okay? And some other stuff in here. You got your volume thing. My microphone is lit up because I'm talking. Maybe I'm not talking. Bluetooth if you got them. Simple screen recorder. Your clipboard thing, your wireless or Ethernet is your system up to date. When you got a check mark on this, you can actually click that and that'll be your software center. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a little bit in more detail. Workspaces 1 and 2, and I think this was minimize all windows. So yeah, I already talked about those icons, so let's look at the menu. If you need to make this larger, grab a hold of that corner and drag it up. I'll also show you you can put different icons on here. So that's my user, Mr. Senior, and I have Settings Manager, Lock Screen, Switch User, and the multifunction Logout Shutdown. It's the same thing as this key right here. So I'm going to add 2 more keys in there, one dedicated for shutdown and restart, just as a bonus tip for you. Right click on this Manjaro icon, hit Properties, hit Commands, and activate these 2. Yeah, unless you know what you're doing, don't edit these. And now I have a dedicated shutdown key. So if I click it, I can walk away from the computer and it'll automatically shut down in 57 seconds. It's counting down. And that's your restart, self-explanatory. You have a search feature. You have a favorites folder, and you can make anything a favorite once you get into these submenus. Terminal emulator, file manager. Web browser is Firefox. You can install others. Mail reader. I'm not going to do A through Z. I'll just do subcategories for applications. So there's a lot of applications in here. I don't use the scroll bar, so I suggest maybe you use your scroll wheel on your mouse for this. But if you're searching for files, if you want a calculator, it's here. Any application you find in this menu that you want in your favorites, or your desktop, or your panel bar, you can right click on. Add it to favorites, desktop, or panel. Okay? In future videos, I will be showing the edit function. So you may want to subscribe. All right, so a mousepad is a simple text editor. Normally text editors don't have spell checkers on them. They're usually used to make simple text files, and for people like myself, I use them for doing scripts. A script file is usually placed in a startup folder that does functions. I'll give you one example of an rsync function. It will sync up one of my folders over to a different hard drive. rsync can also be used with different servers, that kind of stuff. rsync is a very versatile tool. Screenshot tool. Anytime you make changes to your system, do a screenshot. You can right click, you can add it to your favorite desktop or panel, but I suggest anytime you alter a setting, you do a screenshot. Let me open this tool briefly. You remember I started with the screenshots here when I did the video? So the screenshots of, sorry, where are they? They are in pictures. So these are my screenshots of my icons when I started this whole thing, what my themes were, my styles, and my icon set. Okay, these are screenshots that I did. So this tool here, you can do entire screen. That takes the background or wallpaper, panel bar, and all the icons. It doesn't take a picture of itself. Remember that. Active window. There are currently no active window. This is not an active window. Let me open up my file manager, and I'm going to resize that a little bit to make it a little bit tinier as far as box size. If I do active window, let me just show you the example. I'm going to put it on my desktop. Active window. Do I want to capture the mouse pointer? Normally not. I don't use the delay. So I'm going to do the action save, its default, and hit OK. Where do you want to put it? I'm going to put mine on my desktop using the same name. I'm not even going to rename it, but you could rename it. It's going to save it in a PNG format. That's an image file. So let me close that and let you see an example. Now I can clearly see this thing. It's a very small file too. So it's 57,000 bytes. I'll call it 58. 56.3 KIB. You can look up the translation on the internet. I'm not really going to explain that part of it. So my hard drive is translated into GIB. That's in gigabytes. And there you can also see how much space I have left over. And I may not have mentioned that, but anyways, down here at the bottom will tell you how much space you have left. I failed to mention that. Sorry. Apologize there. Now I'm going to get rid of that and continue my process. So that was screenshot tool. Moving along, you have different things down here. You have another shortcut to your file manager. Again, you can click that icon at the top. A utility for burning CDs and DVDs. You have a bunch of these little applications. That's like Photoshop. It's called GIMP. I use it pretty heavily. My previous YouTube site, I had over 450 videos that I used to use that application to edit the thumbnails, resize images, convert images, and even make icons. Okay. Under Internet, Firefox comes natively installed. You can install other web browsers. You have an email client here, Thunderbird, and some other applications. Under Multimedia, the only thing I installed here is a simple screen recorder to bring you this video. Other than that, all this stuff comes installed. Anytime you're looking for something, you can use the search feature. Just start typing and it starts guessing. You don't have a full Office suite installed, but you can certainly open up the add and remove, and let me show you that right now. Since I don't have any updates, I can use the search feature, and not that you have to use this, I'm just showing you one example. LibreOffice Writer has a spell checker. It also has the tools of saving documents in Microsoft formats if you use the Save As feature. Okay, you can install that. You can tell it's not installed. LibreOffice has actually a suite. There's also a spreadsheet program and database, and anyways, they lots of software. The best part about LibreOffice is it's open source and free, just like the open source market. That's my favorite kind of software. All right, settings. Too many to shake a stick at. Again, another shortcut to add and remove software. And I think I'm going to open this now and point to the little mini hamburger menu, and under Preferences, just show you some settings in here, like when to check for updates. You probably don't want to turn that off, but you can change how it looks at that as far as updates, frequencies, advanced properties, and third party. Some people know what these are. Some people know what these are. Flatpak software. Flathub.org is when you can go there and look at some other Flatpak software. For instance, Flatpak software that, well, they're larger packages. When you download them, they're self-contained. Some people call them running in an isolated environment away from your system, that kind of thing. But in general, the software packages are larger than standard packages. Let's put it that way. All right. So we left settings, I think. Yeah. So most of these can be found when I click this little icon here, which I'll do after I get done with the menu. There is a firewall here. It's GFW, which I'll talk about in a little bit. It comes turned off. So stay tuned. And some other settings in here. There's also a shortcut to your mouse and touchpad. I'll also make mention of that when I get in there. I installed one extra mouse pointer just as an example. You can edit the panel here. You can also right-click on your panel and edit there. Power Manager and moving along. Scrolling down. I'll talk about the Window Manager when I get into that. And then under System, you have lots of tools. Again, another add and remove. Or you can click that too. Gparted, some folks are not familiar with it. I currently have a very long video on my YouTube site. It's a part 2 to hard drives. It explains how to use the Gparted tool in a lot of details. And HTOP is a process monitor. Also in Terminal, you also have TOP that is built into just about every terminal box on any Linux distribution for a process monitor. TOP. Top. There's the hello screen. That normally comes up every time you do this, and unless you turn that off. It's got some links in here for you to go read when you install the system. Very informative stuff. And let's see, where did I leave off? Am I in here? See, these menus are so extensive, sometimes you get lost. Oh yeah, I was here. All right, moving along. Another shortcut to Thunar File Manager. And on Timeshift, I'm going to stop for a second. Now, since this is installed on this distribution, a lot of folks don't know what Timeshift is. It's a system restore utility. It's all point and click. It's all graphical. Once you activate that, that'll have a green shield normally at the bottom of the little window. And it'll be, after that, when you close it, it'll start automatically backing up your system files. And you don't have to do anything to it. It just keeps running in the background. When you actually need it, though, you boot up on your bootable medium, whether it's a USB stick or DVD, and you look for this utility on that. And then when you activate it, it will not require a password. And you can pick the restore point and restore your system, usually within 15 minutes. It's a great little utility. I highly suggest you activate it. It doesn't work until you activate it. You just follow the prompts. It's very simple. But I highly recommend that you use a system or utility of any kind, whether it's Timeshift or others. All right, now I'm going to move upstairs here and click this little icon. So if I didn't cover these things, I added these 2 buttons. So to cover that one more time, it's just right-click, Properties, Commands, and just activate these 2. So we have the multifunction key, the dedicated shutdown, the dedicated restart, switch user, lock screen, and now I'll click this open. You have your appearance in here. You remember I did screenshots and showed you what I had. Same thing with icons. If you alter anything, my suggestion is to make screenshot. You don't have to. I would highly suggest you do though. One screenshot that I didn't do is this one here, and I apologize. This was normally set at 10. Let me show you what that font looks like. This is default. That is what your screen would look like if you did not change this. So, I like large text. It's only 2 points, but it makes a huge difference. You can also do the custom dots per inch setting in here. Again, I advocate screenshots. Click in here, SC, screenshot. Send it to your desktop if you just want it temporarily. You can always delete it. It's sitting right here. So again, active window. Now, you could also have keys on your keyboard that have a function key and an insert. I'm going to press it right now. I'm pressing function and insert on my keyboard, and it's going to pop up with a screenshot box. That's a hidden feature, folks. Here's an extra tip for you. Function insert if you have those keys. Now, if I needed to make a window screenshot, I hit back, and then I select that, and then I go forward, and it takes the screenshot of just this box. It never takes a picture of the tool. Just remember that. I'm going to save that to my desktop. And there's the screenshot. Now I can clearly see what I started with. So that would have been a 10 in here. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully. I'm going to get rid of the screenshot. And actually, I'm going to get rid of both of these. I'm just dragging a box around. There's another tip for you for multi-selection. It does not work for your system icons. So I'm going to hit delete and nothing happened. You need to turn those off here. These will deactivate the keys because their default icons are system icons. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Let me back this up. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. Hopefully I wasn't going too fast. So again, if I wanted to get rid of these icons, I would just click in here and click icons and then turn these on and off. Okay? Icon size, size of these icons. Okay, so they were what, 42 I think it was, so I cranked it way up. All right, so that's desktop. File manager settings, the behavior I have set for double click, that's my favorite. I've been doing Linux for over 25 years. Graphical managers weren't available back in those days. We used to use just black and white screens and terminal boxes and stuff. So, you know, the graphical environments have come a long way. You can even see this one has a shadow on it. I'm moving the box around. You can see a slight shadow there. So a lot of things have come a long way. Double click on active items just means double click on things and double click on things. That is my preference for all Linux distributions. I do not like single click. Some people may. This is my opinion. I think sometimes when you have single click, you misclick on things, but that's just me. Just wanted to point that out. I'm going to skip over these notification things. The panel bar you can edit here. Take a look at the panel bar. It's lit up red. I'm going to reduce it. Again, if I was going to make changes in here, what would I use? Screenshot before I play. Text editor settings, going to skip over. Window manager, you want this red button over here and grab a hold of it and drag it over there and you're done. You can grab the rest of these by grabbing these buttons here. Now I'm going to move it back and drop it. Do that kind of slowly when you do that too. Okay. So now you can see the theme that I'm using here. Let me pick the one above it. This says H high dots per inch. That's super high, high, standard. I'm going to pick that one. How's that? That's even better. That's even bigger. Let's leave that. What would I do in this case? Another screenshot. All right, let's move along. Some tweaks in here. Again, screenshots if you're going to do any of this stuff. I know I'm going over some of it really quickly, but I think this requires more reading than anything. But in general, new users, I don't think so. But you could go in there and do things. Same thing with terminal settings. I'm not going to open that up. Now the display I'll talk about for a brief second here, because I have another video on my YouTube site I just uploaded today. It has to do with flat screen monitors or large screen monitors, because that's what I use. As a recommendation, I'm using that as a standard monitor. My screen is not 72, but it is 43 inches. And my screen, I have 3 computers feeding into it because it has a bunch of US HDMI ports. And I can also use the remote on that so-called smart TV to change that to Netflix and other things like that. Don't forget, you can watch my videos on your big screen as long as you got the YouTube app installed on your smart TVs. Linux for Seniors, look that up. All right, where did I leave off? That was display. Oh, I did make mention of this. If you alter the resolution, as you can see, I'm capable of running this up to 4K, but I'm doing this because I wanted everything to be large. That's why I'm filming in 1080. Hopefully you'll appreciate that. But a lot of your monitors, the refresh rates are only 60 Hertz. My smart TV can go up to 120. But let's say you're altering resolutions. You have that capability, you hit apply, and your screen goes black for more than 5 seconds. Guess what? It's incompatible. Something is incompatible, whether it's your TV, monitor, or something to do with your graphics card. Some incompatibility. Leave it alone. Don't reboot the machine. Don't unplug it. Leave it alone for a good 30 seconds to a minute. It'll revert back to the original settings. It's very important Because if you turn off the power, you never know what you do with your system. All right, I'm going to skip over the keyboard thing. You can probably read about it and go to my mouse and touchpad. You got your acceleration here, a little bit about your behavior like double click and stuff, and then you have themes. The themes that come installed on this system are all the black and white ones. I installed this one manually. Now would be a good time just to briefly mention this because I do have other videos on my YouTube site that fully explains this. But that mouse pointer, let me make this a little bit larger for you. That mouse pointer is actually installed in a hidden folder in my home directory. How do we display hidden? Show hidden or Control H. That folder is right here. It's manually created. Right click on an empty area and create folder and start it with a dot or a period and call it icons. Make sure it's spelled this way. And you can take your mouse themes and throw them in here. And the way I do them is I throw a bunch of mouse themes at a time sometimes. I'll put 5 or 6 of them to play with. And when I get done, I just delete the folders. It's that simple, and it deletes it directly out of this menu. As soon as I delete them, they'll be gone. Do you want me to give you an example of that? I'll do it right now. First, I need to back out of this screen. So I'm going to just do that for a second. I'm going to delete this folder on purpose, but let me see what's in the trash can. Let me first empty it because I don't need any of that junk. And go back up one, and I'm going to physically just press the delete key. The folder is now in my trash. Right? Okay. I'm going to minimize this. I want you to notice that that mouse theme is no longer here. I'm going to restore it by doing this. This is how easy it is to do it my way, or at least the method that I'm showing here. Right click, restore. The folder is back. And more importantly, what happens when I click that? The theme is back. So I'll use this from now on. Now my recommendation anytime you change mouse pointers, and I do have on my YouTube site a link to where you can get about 790, I think, of these kind of things. Anytime you change the mouse pointer, I do advocate on all Linux systems that you log out and log back in, if not a full reboot, because sometimes you'll get remnants of your old mouse pointer. Okay, sometimes, not always. Just a recommendation. Power Manager. If you got a keyboard on your, if you got a power key on your keyboard, you may want to make sure that says AST if it's anything else. I believe that's default. On some Linux distros, it's not. I'm not going to go over that. You can also click the volume down here and get the same thing. What to do with your removable drives like USB, here. You can do different things with your storage devices and DVDs. Accessibility, another shortcut to add and remove software, default app. The firewall comes turned off and it's called GFW. It looks grayed out, and when you turn it on, it'll be lit up with a color on it. If you use any file services like Samba that are sharing files, keep in mind it's set to deny everything coming in and allow everything going out. So if you're sharing folders, that's not going to work unless you write rules. And I'm not going to cover that in this video. Just remember that. You activate that, you better have some rules if you're sharing files on your local system. Notifier settings. Manjaro Settings Manager is where your kernels are and where you can add extra users. So I have 2. I got Nobody and Mr. Senior. You can just click the plus and follow the prompts. Bluetooth adapters, really not going to discuss. Settings editor, no, that's too complex for most people. And I'll open it. Anytime you make changes in here, do a screenshot, and keep in mind there's a scroll bar here. So if you make some changes downstairs, then make sure you do a screenshot of that. So I will be fair, and I will open this up just to let you see it. And most people don't go in here and make changes, but that's what you got. All right, I think I covered this whole box, so I'm going to close the box, and let's see, I went through the menus, and what's this open? That's the trash can, and let's do right-clicking on the screen. You can create launchers. Again, you can create that icon in a couple seconds. Just type in LRG, and like Lincoln Log, it's the second item. Depending on the theme you picked, this icon could be a different color. Create twice, once, twice, done. Now you have a dedicated icon, and you can also put that, right click and create launcher on panel, and it sends it right here in the corner. In case you accidentally deleted that. I heard people have done that before and did not know how to put this icon back. That's why I'm making a mention of it now. Right click, create URLs. Very simple box to use, and you can create web-based icons. I'm going to make this bigger so you can see what it says, create link on here. All right, all you need to do is give it a name and the web address. Let's go find something. I'm going to close this briefly, open up a web browser. We can use any website. I will use LFS, or Linux for Seniors. Hopefully you have subscribed. And I will copy the whole string here. The address, in other words. Right click and copy. I normally minimize, but I'm going to close that. I'm just going to assume that it copied. So right click, create URL, universal resource locator, in other words, the web address. Right click and paste. I know it doesn't look like the whole thing is in there, but it is. I'm just scrolling right and left. What are we going to call it? Linux for Seniors, LFS. Let's click the icon. I just didn't want to type the whole thing. So you can bring your own icons, and that would be in image files, and you would just select the folder that your icon is in. I'm going to hit cancel and click that again. Normally this takes a second or two for it to register because the system is looking through your database for icons. These are icons that are also used for other purposes in the system, but these are generally icons that you can use. So just because you see something that says Word on it, or an application that you normally see in the menu, that doesn't mean you can't use it, because these are just icons. I'm going to use Airstrike. I think that's a game actually, but I'm going to use it for my purposes just to demo this. Create. I'm going to double click on that icon, and it goes directly to my YouTube site. So you can do this with any web page. What if I want this in my panel bar? Right click, open with create launcher on panel. It sends it in the corner. You can see the little guy down here. You right click on him and you hit move. Anytime you see a red line, you can drop it. There's a red line there, but I'm going to move it over here and drop it. This is a single click. Can I get rid of that one? You can. And I'm going to click it once. Now you can see what you can do with these kind of icons. They're kind of cool actually. You can't get, you watch, if I draw a box around these things and hit a delete, nothing happens. You need to right click, desktop settings, and actually remove them from, one more time, right click, desktop settings, icons. You need to remove them here. These are system icons. Okay, system icons. This is also the size. One more time for the screenshot. I'm going to turn off my hidden files. Remember where I was showing you the .icons folder? And go to pictures, wallpaper. No, I'm sorry. It was in one more up. It was in screenshots. This window, I think, is that one. So let's compare apples to apples for a second. So I'm at 72 and the original was at 42. That means the size of the icon. All right, so 42, just remember that for a second. Now I'm going to show you what it looked like before I started. So I'm going to do Control C for copy, and I'm going to put in 42 and hit enter. And that's the size of those icons. You must admit they're kind of dinky, aren't they? So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to do a Control V because I copied the last numbers that were in there. What would I advocate in this case? Screenshots. Okay, 72 is going to be my size, so I'm going to hit enter, and now they resize. You can go higher if you like. Okay, there's an 84. I don't know what the maximum is. I never tried it actually. Those are humongous. That's probably way too much. All right, get the idea? So if you can't remember these kind of numbers, then again, screenshots are your best friend. All right. Close. Right click on your desktop. Create folder, create text files. Open up terminal, open up your file manager in root mode. This would be more for advanced users. Thunar is your file manager. And then you have desktop settings I just shown, and then all applications. Let me click a little higher, right click a little higher, so you can get an idea what these are. You can see the logout key at the very bottom, and then you have the breakout menus here. So if you can technically click Firefox now instead of opening that over here. Okay. Hopefully you've subscribed. I got lots of videos coming up. And they're all not on the same subjects either. So since I'm doing this for MX, there is calendar tips there. Let's see, I've got, I'm sorry, not MX, Manjaro. There's the Plasma desktop. Stuff like that. Okay, I think I'm done, folks. Hopefully you have subscribed. I'll say have a wonderful day and thanks for watching.